Capitalists believed in the idea of social Darwinism. Darwin's ideas called God's existence to question. Social Darwinism resulted in the concept of survival of the fittest. From here, many workers turned to socialism and communism. Karl Marx, German philosopher and sociologist, believed that the revolution was inevitable and that the workers would triumph and create a classless society. In the 20th century, nations like the USSR and China adopted Marx's philosophy and underwent communist revolutions. In such countries, atheism became the official religion. The document of Rerum Novarum, written by Pope Leo XIII in 1891, confirms the right to private property and defends the right of workers. It also teaches that the states can sometimes intervene and defend workers.
During the pontificate of Pius X, many Protestants were starting to doubt Thomism, created by Thomas Aquinas, and many questioned church authority. In 1907, Pius X issued a decree, an encyclical named Lamentabili, that combated modernism, which was known as the synthesis of all heresies. However, shortly following this, on August 4, 1914, World War I had begun, which was believed to have been caused by supranationalism, the thought of one country being better than the other, or known by a famous saying, "My country, right or wrong."
When Pius X died, Pope Benedict XV was unexpectedly elected as his successor. He refused to take sides during the war, offering visionary peace several times. One interesting observation is that Benedict often proposed ideas that were similar to President Woodrow Wilson's famous 14 points. After the war, Germany settled into a Great Depression with Adolf Hitler rising into power and forming the Nazi Party. During this time, many scientific ideas were pondered, including a few from Sigmund Freud, who denounced the existence of God as a simple wish by the mind.
Succeeding Benedict XV was Pius XI, who feared communism and fascism. After World War II, the USSR gained control of several countries under its grip and began persecuting Catholics, which caused fear in those who lived there. Pius XII was then elected and helped push the church into the modern world. He supported modern historical ideas and scientific studies in the Bible.
The election of Pope John XXIII after the death of Pope Pius XII was unexpected. One thing that surprised most was Pope John's idea for the first ecumenical council in 90 years. This council would be of mercy and hope, unlike previous councils, which were called in times of crisis and heresy. Pope John's very words for the reasoning of the council were, "I want to throw open the windows of the church so that we can see out and that people can see in."
Vatican II was called in 1959 by John XXIII. Astonishingly, bishops came from all over the world of different races, making this the first time ever in almost 100 years with the bishops gathered in one area together. Even other religions like Orthodox, Anglican, and Protestant observed the council.
John XXIII died on June 3, 1963 from stomach cancer, which led to Paul VI being his successor. During the continuing council, 4 strong documents were issued. These included the Sacrosanctum Concilium, Lumen Gentium, Dei Verbum, and Gaudium et Spes. Towards the end of the council, 3 declarations were issued: Declaration of Christian Education, the Declaration of Religious Freedom, and the Declaration of Relation of the Church to non-Christian religions.
After Vatican II, there was a number of noticeable positive influences from the Council to the world. One was the renewed embracing of God's Word found in the Bible, which helped Catholics essentially rediscover the Bible. Another influence was religious freedom and social justice. A major importance of the Council was the emphasis on the decree that working for social justice is an essential task in following Christ.
A more active role in laity was also an influence from Vatican II. The Council reminded us that all baptized Catholics are responsible for the mission of the Church and that laity and clergy have the vocation to strive for holiness. The last influence was collegiality, which was highlighted in the Council between the bishops and Pope. Collegiality is the principle that bishops of the Church and Pope form a single college that succeeds 12 apostles with Peter at the head.
Other minor changes were made as well. One of the most notable changes was the priest faced the crowd while celebrating the Mass rather than facing the altar. Although the Second Vatican Council had many advantages, there were of course negative impacts from the Council. Those who were stuck in the past with the old rules of the Church before the Council took place simply stopped going to Mass or formed heretical groups because they did not approve of these changes. Some priests even requested resignations from the Church and dispensations from their vows.
Pope Paul VI eventually issued Humanae Vitae in 1968, which stated that life is sacred and should not be destroyed by abortion. It also banned the means of birth control because it was artificial. This turned out to be controversial, however, once it was learned that the Pope banned contraception against recommendation of a papal commission he called to advise on the issue.
Starting in 1978, 3 popes would become very popular: Pope Paul VI, Pope John Paul I, and Pope John Paul II. Paul VI is known for being the first pope to leave Rome since Pius VII. He also visited 5 continents and was the first pope since St. Peter to visit the Holy Land. He even flew to the Middle East to try and end tensions there.
John Paul I was the first pope to take a double name as his papal name. Although he refused to wear the papal crown, or tiara as it is known, his experience was short-lived due to his death from a heart attack resulting from his poor health. His reign ended at 33 days. John Paul II was the first non-Italian pope to be elected in 450 years. He took the name John Paul II to symbolize that he was going to continue the work of the 3 popes elected before him. For many Catholics, he was known as John Paul the Great, which was an honorable title used previously by Gregory I, Leo I, and Nicholas I. Many people also viewed him as the holy apostle to humanity and is believed to be one of the greatest historical figures of all time.
The end.